Let's start with an opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
Yeah, appreciate you guys being here today. Welcome back. It's 2024 football season and training camp underway here with our first practice. Our guys reported yesterday, really excited about the trajectory of our team. We had a great offseason, a great summer. We've recruited really well, and now we've got all of our freshmen and some of our new transfers on campus. Today was a great day for practice number one. Really excited about this journey and starting this journey with our guys, and really this is the start of the process. I'm happy to announce and excited to announce a couple of promotions for a couple of our staff members. Sean Spence has been promoted to linebackers coach. He's done an excellent job. He played linebacker at the highest level for the Pittsburgh Steelers and in the NFL. Been a great player. He's really done a nice job building relationships with our players. And then we've also promoted Coach Dan Sabak to special teams coordinator and specialist coach. He came over from Arkansas during the spring, and he's done an excellent job really working with our specialists. Really wanted to give him the full reins there. He's coached in this league before, knows the MAC really well, and has been a coordinator in this league. And with the new rules with countable coaches, we were able to make some changes there. Also, Coach Popovich is going to take a step back for personal reasons. He still will help us in some form or capacity. We appreciate everything that he's done for us, and really, when he's here, his role won't change. But just wanted to make those announcements as we start here in the beginning of training camp.
You guys had a lot of changes, obviously, the off-season coming into the spring. How did you really feel before you guys started today? Did you feel like you were kind of in a good spot and just ready to hit the ground running? And then, obviously, from what you saw today, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I try not to use the word excited too much, but I've been using the word excited a bunch even since Mac Media days. I tell you, this group has really re-energized me, and really there's an excitement with this group of players. We returned 17 starters. There's 26 guys on this football team who have started for us in some form or capacity over the last year. When you look at that core group, I think that there's some excitement because they understand the standard that we've set. They understand the foundation that we've laid, and they've really taken ownership and really taken that to the next step with the player accountability, which is the exciting part for me. They've really taken ownership, and they've really led the freshmen and the new guys on what our culture is, what the Broncos standard is. So I'm excited. We've got 3 new coordinators, which is awesome, and they've done a really nice job. I'm just, ready to get to work, and there's still a lot of work left to do.
How different do you feel from this time last year when you were getting ready, new program, new position, and now you have that year under your belt? Just how do you feel now, maybe just a bit more comfortable a year later?
That's a great question. I don't even know if my head was spinning last year. This time, really didn't know what we had and what we didn't have. It was my first experience as MAC, first experience as head coach, and I think our players were the same. I've referred to last year as really year zero. They were really learning the standard and expectation every single day. What's been so comforting for me is going into year 2, our players having an understanding of what our standard is, and them owning the culture. The best teams that I've been on, it's been the players in the locker room who really take hold of that standard and really own the culture with their accountability. And I think that I've seen that this summer. They have a want and desire for it to be their team, and that part is encouraging to me.
You guys putting a heavy emphasis before practice, after practice, obviously staying loose, staying limber, obviously we know that's so key, but how key is that? Is that either a different focus for you guys this year, a different, more emphasis on it to make sure that guys are staying healthy throughout camp, hopefully throughout the season as well?
Yeah, it's a great observation by you. We really, through the off season and really just assessing year 1, we wanted to put an emphasis on 2 things. One, being mentally and physically prepared for practice when it starts. And part of that getting loose and activation part is not only physical, it's mental as well, so that you really get in that optimal zone to play at your best. And so that's part of the priming, not only physically but mentally. And then through spring practice, we had some soft tissue injuries, and we wanted to make sure that we keep our guys healthy so that we don't have any of those injuries. We need a full, healthy squad if we're going to go chase our dreams and goals this year.
Looking at the return on the offensive side especially, just so many names, Wolf, Buckley, Sambucci, Womack, so many guys just coming back, so many key leaders for you guys. just how excited are you? I mean, you being a former coordinator yourself on that side of the ball, knowing you've got so many weapons back on that offensive side to hopefully put up big numbers this year.
Yeah, we returned a lot of really good players on the offensive side of the ball. We mentioned, returning 17 starters, 8 on offense. I mean, when you've got 4 of the 5 starters up front on the offensive line, listen, that's where it starts. It starts up front on both sides of the ball, so that gives you a great comfortability when you've got an offensive line and a defensive line that have played so much football for you. When your quarterback has started in 27 football games, there's nothing that we can throw at him. There's no defensive look that he hasn't seen. He prepares the right way, and then you got the returning MAC freshman of the year in Buckley, Jalen Buckley, our running back, and then also Kenny Womack led the league in receptions, and so there's a lot of production that is returning on the offensive side of the ball. I think one thing that people are overlooking is the production that we return on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, we had 6 guys who played and started in all 12 games last year. We're returning our top 4 tacklers from a season ago. We're returning a lot of production, all 4 linebacker spots, both safety spots, some guys up front. We're returning, I think, 75% of our sack production, even though we lost Marshawn Nealon and one of our best players on defense. There's a lot of production coming back on the defensive side of the ball. And Coach Power, our new defensive coordinator, has done an excellent job really simplifying the scheme, allowing our players to play fast with less communication and do what they do well.
I don't know if anyone in the country starts the season tougher than you guys do the first couple weeks. How do games like that prepare you for when you get into the thick of things and the games start to become more important in conference play?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if anybody starts with a harder out of the gate schedule than we do, but I think it helps prepare you for those MAC games. I tell you, our guys are excited. We do a great job in our Midwest recruiting footprint, so Wisconsin kids and Ohio kids, we recruit those states really well, and so there's a lot of players on our team that are excited to go play those 2 games. They probably grew up going to those games and loving their in-state teams, which is great, but we've got one thing on our mind, and that's playing to our Bronco standard. But I think it helps prepare you when you play in the MAC. There's great coaches, there's great players, there's great football played in MAC, and the parity is so close week in and week out that you have to bring your A game every single week. So it really helps battle test you for those games later in the season when you've got to be at your best.
It just feels like with the amount of returning experience that you do have and with the way you attack the portal, it just seems like there's going to be a lot of competition here in fall camp, which is awesome, which is exciting. Where do you feel like is going to be like an area, like a position group that's going to see the most competition?
Well, that's a great question. And, I will agree with you. I think we're excited about the guys that we brought back. We're returning a lot of starters, but I think we've upgraded our roster. We had a great high school recruiting class. We were number 2 in the MAC in high school recruiting. It was the best recruiting class that we've had since 2016. And we went out and had some portal additions that are going to be instant impact guys. I think one group to look at in particular is the defensive line. I think we've got some really great defensive linemen, and we are deep there. But that's going to be able to allow us to keep guys fresh and platoon guys. I think the other area to look is on the offensive line. We only brought in 1 transfer there, but we brought in 7 guys. We brought back 7 guys who played or started for us last year, and so with the addition of Quinn Murphy from Notre Dame, he's going to add great competition in that room, and so those are 2 battles that I'm really looking forward to looking at. I think the running back room is really deep and strong, even returning, the MAC freshman of the year. And I think there's some great players in that room that are really going to push him for playing time.
Do you feel like you're going to be more balanced in terms of carries with that running game? At a Oklahoma State transfer,
Yep.
You just get a lot of returning talent with that as well. Do you feel like you're going to be able to do some different things in terms of running the football this year?
Yeah, I think we have to be more balanced in our run game in terms of carrying the load. Jalen did an excellent job last year, but he carried the bulk of the carries, and that's really hard, whether at college or the NFL. I've been fortunate enough to be at both levels, and really you have to have multiple guys. Even when we had Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, we had Bryce Love who could help shoulder some of the carries. The attrition at that position, and you see the wear and tear that it took on Buckley last year. And so I think just being able to share the load and the carries in the run game between the talented guys that we have. We've got Oldie coming back, who's done a great job for us. We've got Trey Hartwell, who was a true freshman last year. We signed Jaden Nixon out of the portal. We've got Jamal Haley. We've got Keyshawn King, who didn't play a ton for us. So we've got a deep group there that I think all can rotate, and I think that it helps allow it to keep those guys fresh and for the wear and tear of the season.
I know you touched on you wanted to put an emphasis on the secondary, just in the portal and coming into here. So, I see some names that are familiar, but do you feel like that's also an area where you're going to see some competition, maybe at the secondary spot, cornerback, and everything?
Absolutely. I mean, we talked after spring ball, and we were very thin in the secondary. We knew that, going into spring ball, but I really appreciate how our coaches addressed the weakness and an area of need, and they went out and really, we have some depth there now at the safety and corner position. We've got several guys who we think that can play the nickel position for us, which is going to be critical in our defensive scheme this year. And so I'm really excited about that competition battle. I didn't mention it earlier, but we brought in some guys who've played at a high level at other places, and also some guys with some experience here that will create a great battle in spring ball.